All right, guys. So, because 2024 is coming to an end and because this is a holiday week, I thought I would take some time here just to talk about the end of 2024. We'll do a lot of 2025 preview in the coming weeks, but just because there probably isn't a lot of news to talk about here and it's just a little bit of a slower week, like I said, I wanted to preview, I think, what is going to be a sneaky, surprising month in terms of movie and TV. As I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about in this week's episode, the post Thanksgiving episode, I was trying to plan basically what the rest of the year looks like. And as I thought about it, the more I looked at the schedule, the more I realized there's a lot of stuff coming out. So what this segment is going to be previewing December 2025, December 2024. What is going to come out for the rest of the year? Because I think you'll be quite surprised to see just how much content is coming and how exciting a lot of it is. So I'm going to go through each of the projects that I am really excited for to a certain extent, and some projects are more just curiosity things, and some of them I may not even watch because I don't have a previous or existing relationship with the franchise, but I think that there are things to point out here that you guys might be excited about. So again, I haven't picked every single little thing, every single movie or TV show that's coming out in December, but I picked some of the major ones, even ones that I myself may not go out and watch, but I think just for the sake of the conversation of seeing, what December 2024 is going to look like here. So let's start it off here. December 3rd is already kicking off the month with an exciting show, at least in my opinion, an exciting show, and that is Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Now, I know I personally understand, and I feel it too a little bit, if there is some disappointment going on with the Star Wars franchise, especially in terms of their Disney Plus output, because, when was the last time that they really put out something great? You could argue Andor, you could argue Mandalorian Season 1. It's been a while, and I think that just the pessimism going on here with the Disney era of, Lucasfilm era of, I guess the sequel trilogy era, I should say, of Star Wars has, I think, been warranted just because there hasn't been any consistency. You might have, liked certain parts of it, and I've definitely liked a lot of what I've seen, but it's just not been consistent. But Skeleton Crew is hopefully going to be one of those gems that we find here, just like Andor was, just like the Mandalorian Season 1 was. And I think that is also really exciting because it's giving us something to hope for again in Star Wars. And I think that based on the trailers, I've been excited about it. We'll talk more about Skeleton Crew later on in the episode and just what I'm hoping for, what some of my expectations are. But I think that just because, John Watts, who did all the Spider-Man films in the MCU, is doing this, I have some faith in it that, it looks good. And I'm hoping that it'll be something where we can at least, come to an agreement on that. It's one of the better things that Disney Star Wars has done. So Skeleton Crew, December 3rd. And then December 5th is momentous because December 5th is the start of the DCU as we know it. December 5th is the start of the brand new rebooted DC universe. Creature Commandos comes out on Max. By the way, I should have specified Skeleton Crew comes out on Disney Plus, but Creature Commandos is a show as well, and it's coming out on Max on December 5th. It is an animated show in the style very much in the same vein of Suicide Squad. In fact, basically Suicide Squad, but animated with different characters, and it's going to kick off Chapter 1 of the DCU, which is called Gods and Monsters. And I think it's just exciting. I've had my own trepidations with Creature Commandos of what is this really going to be? Is this just going to be a repeat of Suicide Squad? And, am I the most excited about it? No, not really. But I think what is more exciting about it is the fact that it is going to be the start of a new DC universe. And I think that is something that cannot be underestimated. So December 5th, Creature Commandos. And then coming out on December 13th may, in fact, be the last installment of the Sony franchise, the Sony Spider-Man franchise. I'm being a little facetious, but also, just the way that this is trending, I don't have a lot of confidence that, they're going to continue on with the universe afterwards, but we have Kraven the Hunter coming to theaters on December 13th. And I think I put this here, I put this here because it's a Sony Spider-Man film, Spider-Man adjacent film, but also because I think that this one, and again, we've been tricked before, right? Venom 3 I thought looked pretty good. I thought even the Morbius trailers looked pretty good. And I think that the Kraven the Hunter trailers don't look terrible. They look fine. I have some hope here also because this film is being directed by JC Chandor, and I think, I think the filmography is a little stronger than other directors. Again, I had a lot of faith in Venom The Last Dance as well, and that didn't pan out either, so I'm still a little cautious, and I don't know what to make of this, honestly, but I want to go into Kraven the Hunter believing that it's going to be good, and so I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be curious to see what they do here because, again, it could spell the end of this Sony Spider-Man universe as we know it, or maybe it's good and then maybe, things come out of it that are good. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm more curious than anything else. Coming into theaters also on December 13th is The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim on December 13th. And that's interesting because it's going to be a Lord of the Rings film, but it's not going to be a live action one. The next live action one we've talked about on the channel is The Hunt for Gollum, but this is going to be an animated Lord of the Rings film in the style of anime. And I think that is also very interesting. Now, I don't know how much appeal this is going to have because it's crossing over two fan bases and franchises that are, or I guess genres that are, very beloved, anime and Lord of the Rings. But I think that combining the two, I'd be very curious to see what kind of audience turns out for this kind of movie, because it's also a very different period of time. It's not the main Hobbit timeline. It's not the main Lord of the Rings timeline. And so I'd be very curious to see, how many people come out and see an animated anime style Lord of the Rings film that's set way in the past. We'll see. But I'm very curious about this as well. I won't say I'm super excited at this point, but I am very curious about it. So there is that. Coming out the next week, we also have two films that are going to be very big. We have Sonic the Hedgehog 3 coming out on December 20th, excuse me. And I haven't, personally seen the first two Sonic films, so I don't even know if I'm going to see the third Sonic film, but I know that the Sonic films have been pretty well received, and surprisingly so, just based on all the backlash that was going on during the first film, and obviously the ugly Sonic controversy and whatnot. So very curious to see how well Sonic 3 is going to do here, because again, it could make a lot of money. It could also just kind of be in the same vein as the earlier films, being in that sort of $400 million range. So we'll see. But in terms of quality, I think we can kind of expect the same things, just a very entertaining kind of film here as we move forward there. And then also on December 20th, another film, maybe excitement's the wrong word, but I think curiosity is also a little weak. I would say I'm mildly interested in Mufasa, the Lion King. And a lot of that excitement and interest comes from Barry Jenkins, who directed the Oscar-winning film, the, now infamous La La Land Moonlight mix-up Oscar film Moonlight. And so I'm also curious to see what drew him to that project, because I don't hate the live-action Lion King film that was directed by Jon Favreau. I don't understand what the point of it was. Unlike the Jungle Book, which I think really, the live-action Jungle Book, which really expanded the original, and the original was not nearly as beloved, let's be honest, as the original Lion King. So I'm just curious what the justification was, what the motivation was for, making this new Mufasa prequel film, and we'll see if it's any good. Also, Aaron Pierre is going to be starring in it, and he is obviously going to be our Jon Stewart in the DCU. So there is that. And then we got three more projects here. What If Season 3 is going to be coming out starting on December 22nd, and it's going to be coming out daily. So I think 8 episodes, so December 22nd to the 30th, something like that. And yeah, I've talked about this before on the channel. In fact, in the last episode, I believe, or 2 episodes ago, I'm not super excited for What If Season 3, but I'm hoping for a few good, solid episodes. And we've been teased in the past that there are going to be some implications for the multiverse saga in this season. I don't know. Last episode we saw the world tree, and great. That's not really a tease to the multiverse saga. So if that's what they're implying, like at the very end we see God Loki sitting on his throne, fine. That's not really that important to me. I'm just more hoping for some really solid and entertaining episodes at the end of this season. And then we have on December 25th the Bob Dylan movie A Complete Unknown, and it's a movie that I personally was not that interested in until I've been hearing some buzz that Timothée Chalamet is actually getting some, he's getting a lot of rave reviews coming out of this movie, as he almost always does for any of his films, that he, it might be entered into awards consideration, which is interesting because he also has Dune Part 2, which I think he could be entered into awards consideration for as well. And I think that, yeah, I'd be curious to see it. I don't know if I'm going to see it, but it's something that, if we keep an eye on in the Oscars race, that maybe this film comes up there as well. And I'm hoping if we're able to do Access Blockbusters pods through, every single week through the remainder of this year and then going into next year, that we'll be able to do a whole episode doing an Oscars prediction episode as well. So I hope that we can do that in the future. But A Complete Unknown coming December 25th, Christmas. And then finally, rounding out the year, a very exciting series, Squid Game Season 2 comes out on December 26th. I am a big fan of the first Squid Game Season 1. I thought it was quite good, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing why these characters re-enter the ring, so to speak, and why they're back in this Squid Game world. Obviously, there's the out-of-universe, explanation of, well, we wanted to make a season 2, so obviously we're going to do the games again because that's what people liked. I'm hoping there's a more robust explanation as to why they're back in the arena, but we'll have to see when Squid Game Season 2 comes out on December 26th. So yeah, just to recap, December is a very packed month. I think that there's going to be so much to talk about. Not to mention, I just reviewed Gladiator 2, and then we got Wicked Part 1, and Moana 2 to talk about soon. So there is still a ton going on at the end of 2024. And then 2025 kicks off, and we got Severance Season 2, Captain America 4 comes out very soon, and Daredevil Born Again. So lots of really good stuff coming out, and I think that we're going to end the year very strong. But let me know in the comments down below, what is your most anticipated anticipated project from this list, I'd love to hear. And I'd love to hear what you're looking forward to in general at the end of 2024. Let me know in the comments down below.